So I just wanted to make this quick video talking about training mode. A lot of you guys are using training mode incorrectly and it's ruining the game for you. So I just wanted to talk about how to use training mode correctly and give an example of how to use it super efficiently. So the first thing is, a lot of you guys are using it pretty inefficiently and putting way too much time into training mode. I think Sajam says it best. Training mode is like brushing your teeth. You should do it at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. You shouldn't be doing it all day. Some of you guys are spending way too much time in training mode rather than playing the game. I guarantee you, if you're spending too much time in training mode doing one specific thing, you're not going to be prepared for when that actual thing happens in the game. So you have to keep putting yourself into bad situations and recognizing certain situations where you could do certain things, or practicing the things to get yourself into the situation that you are practicing, if that makes sense. For example, if you're trying to practice a corner combo, you need to practice how to get them to the corner in the first place. But we'll get more into it when I hop in training mode. So you've hopped in training mode and you don't have any of this stuff on your screen. First of all, let's get that stuff on your screen. You're gonna go to display, and at the top you're gonna show hit properties. You're gonna show frame information. You're gonna show the player 1 virtual controller in the bottom left, and you're gonna show the input log. This basically means you can see what inputs you're putting in to see if you're misinputting something. You can see the damage you're doing. You can see the frame data for when you're practicing block strings, and you can see what the opponent frame data is as well. So as you can see, I'm -2, they're +2, so it makes it a little bit easier for you to understand how the frames work. You can see how if you're negative, and you can see if they're positive. But now that you're in training mode, let's talk about what's actually important. What's actually important in training mode is not your combos. Combos, I highly recommend just finding something that is very basic and works for you. And as you get more comfortable with the character and you start to enjoy the character more, that's when you can start getting some more gritty stuff. Too often I see people commit to a character and practice only combos, and then they realize later that they hate the character, but they feel so invested in them because they spent so much time in the lab. So what's the first thing that you should do? Press buttons. Press buttons. Just get familiar with the character's movement, their specials, their EXs. Just feel it out. Like, does it look cool? Does it feel cool? Do you like the character? And just get yourself familiar with it. With Narmaya, it even has 2 stances, so you can get used to, like, oh, this hits at a very weird angle, so now you have that in mind. You can see that does 2 slashes, that does 1 slash, the EX does 3. You can even see the frame data, like, oh, this one's pretty unsafe as well, it's -5, and the EX version is pretty unsafe, but it has some decent spacing. Some characters won't be able to punish. And then on top of that, you can see your normal buttons, like, oh, I have these tools. If you're following my guides, you can be like, you can start getting familiar with the buttons that I tell you should focus on. Now you're kind of familiar, you should start running block strings. I think block strings are the most important thing, because the opponent's probably going to be blocking or getting hit most of the time. So you want to practice block strings and hit confirms. In the mid screen, you can practice block strings like, oh, 6XL is universal pressure. So what do I do after 6XL? I do another L and it hits. But if I do another L after that, it misses. So you should practice doing like 6XL, L, and then medium. Or you can do 6XL, L, and then medium again, but you're like, what do I do to keep my turn? You can use like EX slash. So you do 6XL, L, medium, EX slash. And now you have it like a decent block string that you can kind of loop, and if the opponent tries to take their turn after the medium because they know it's negative, you just hit them back with your pretty good zoning tool, and then you hit them down, and now you can run in and start pressure again. And let's say you're at the more intermediate level and you're wondering how to use both stances. So let's say in this case you've already done your game plan to get in and you got a knockdown. Let's say you're in blue stance now, so you can do like P, 2M. You can see 2M misses after P and 2M, so maybe you can do a standing M, but you have to be careful if they're crouching or not, because it whiffs. But you can do something like this, and then you can go into your flip to steal your turn back, and then you can start doing pressure again, or you can even run up throw. Or let's say you found that they're on a knockdown situation, you can practice doing like jumps over them and timing your hits to hit either super low for super positive frames or shallow just because you want to hit them as soon as possible. So you can practice different things. So now you've probably spent like 2-3 minutes practicing your block strings, and you want something to give you some damage. So you can go to opponent, you can disable their block, and now you can practice hit confirms. Let's say I hit a 2M here, I can practice going into my slashes, my quarter circle forward EX version. So you're like, oh, I was doing my pressure and one of my 2Ms hit. Now you have the combo starter. You just do this over and over. For stance characters, practice in both stances. So here, that's an okay confirm, but the better confirm is this. So you can practice your hit confirms, just get familiar with the character, how it feels to land a hit, and what to do after you land a hit. I do this myself sometimes, just because I've been quite busy. I'll get a hit and then my brain won't work and not know what to do, so I don't get the hit confirm. But if you practice the hit confirms, it'll help you a lot. And then after the hit confirm, practice what comes after the hit confirm, as well as different positionings. So for example, if I hit the hit confirm from here and I hit like a medium and then into slashes, you can see it carries to the corner, so I can actually combo off of it with Narmaya. But here it doesn't hit. You can kind of practice distancing as well, and you can practice combos after. Now, getting into like how to practice combos, I recommend this being like one of your shortest times, at least when you're starting a character, the shortest amount of time that you spend in the lab. This part doesn't matter as much. Learning how to play the game matters way more. But let's say you land the hit, and with Narmaya, I can't do her hard combo, which has like this tricky starter into other stuff. But instead, I want a very basic meterless version where I don't need to keep track of resources. I could just do something like this, and that's good enough. Or if that's even too hard for you, you can just do something like this, and just do one special. As long as you're getting damage, you're doing fine. You don't need to get huge payoffs all the time. One thing I would say for new players is I notice a lot of you just don't use meter. So let's say towards like the middle or beginning of the round that you do have meter. The easiest confirm that you can possibly do into using all of your meter is just an auto combo into super. And supers do a lot of damage in this game. So even though it's not optimal and it doesn't take like half of their HP, you still get a pretty good chunk and you spend your meter, which is a very good habit to have. If you want to even spice it up a little bit, you can do like an auto combo into like one button into another auto combo into like super. And that'll give you even a little bit more damage. So you can start building your combos just off of basic combos. I just highly recommend just start using super basic combos when you're starting and focusing more on the game plan, on the intricate mechanics of the character, on what makes them difficult, rather than spending all your time practicing that one hard combo that you never can hit in game. Just to wrap it up, Training Tool is an amazing tool, but honestly, you should spend most of your time over here in ranked match, casual match, lobby. Me personally, I highly recommend ranked match. It puts you against people similar rank than you, and even though you might feel like there's a misrepresentation of your rank, I promise you, if you just focus on improving and not your rank, it will do far better than you would ever expect. Please use these tools in moderation, enjoy the game, and I'll be posting more after.